Alright, so this time I'm going to go into the actual extension itself and show you a little bit of what Arbi can do. Obviously it's still beta at the moment, so there's still more to come, but from the Amazon search page we jump straight into a product. So we'll pick this 12 Games of Christmas board game. What Arbi is doing at the moment is pulling in the data from Keeper and from a few other data sources that we've got, and it's going to load up things like your amount of monthly sales. It's going to load up the seller table, the EANs, the volatility, which I'll come on to in a minute, and will allow you to do things like enter your buy price and calculate your profit. So on the right hand side from the top, we've got a couple of options. One in top left will take you to your dashboard. The other will take you to your settings panel, and that will pop up in a window there, so you can adjust your unit cost, taxes, etc. Much like the first video on the dashboard. Scrolling down from that, 30-day Arbi user activity. This is something that won't be live for a little bit, just until we get some data from some users. But what this essentially allows you to do is see what other Arbi users are doing in terms of viewing and adding to their dashboard. So, for example, let's say we're looking at this product listing. We might scroll down here to the Keeper chart, and let's say the offer count is climbing up. It happens to be 1 at the moment, so it's probably private label, as is being highlighted there by our alerts panel as well. But let's say the offer count was climbing or decreasing, but we want to get a bit of a head start on possibly other Arbi users. So once we get a few users under our belt, you'll start to see if there's a bit of an increase in views or analyses, or whether they've been added to the dashboard in the last 30 days. And that can tell you, right, you know what, I might want to avoid this because I can see that a lot of people are adding to this to their Arbi dashboard, which might mean that they might be looking to start stocking on that listing, therefore the offer count going up and it becoming a bit more competitive. So that's something we're going to be expanding on to give people a way of seeing crowd sentiment and what's going on in that respect as well. So anyway, down from there we've got some obvious things: title, the brand, the review, stars, rating, ASIN, EAN. You can copy either of those using the copy to clipboard button alongside it. And then our main sort of criteria panel, if we want to call it that. So offers is the total amount of offers on that particular listing. That includes Amazon or not, FBA or FBM. Sales, pretty self-explanatory, how many monthly sales that particular listing gets. It is an average, but what we do is we take a conservative estimate and we actually pull that data straight from Amazon. So you can be pretty certain that it's correct. Other tools are using their own proprietary databases and that sort of thing. They're kind of dead now, really. They're kind of nullified. Amazon will give us this data themselves, so that's pretty handy. Whether Amazon are on the listing is next to that. Happily for us, it's a case that they're not on this one. Variations will tell you how many variations of a product there is. Now, one thing to note is that sales estimations on Arbi are specific to the variation, not the entire listing. So if that says 10,000 sales and there's 10 variations, that doesn't mean that that 10,000 sales is split between all of those variations. So those sales are relevant to that particular variation, which is really handy. It takes the guesswork out completely. Next along, we've got IP Radar. It's a bit of a list that we built up ourselves, plus we pull data in from a few other sources. If you're aware of a brand that is not on our list, that you scan through and you find that that says okay when it's not, or you have any previous experience with IP claims on a brand, do let us know as well. Drop me an email. Hazmat, not something that's been implemented just yet, but this will eventually show whether Hazmat is going to apply to this particular item. If you're enabled for Hazmat, then you can sell it. If not, you should probably get enrolled, because it will open doors for you in terms of what you can and can't sell. Private label next along, so that takes a bit of a snapshot of the amount of sellers that are on a particular listing. If it happens to be low, or if it looks like the brand themselves is selling the item, then it will flag a maybe on private label. There's no definitive way to tell, so you do need to investigate that a little bit more. Volatility, something that's quite unique to Arbi actually, that a lot of other tools don't do. Volatility measures the change in price over the last 30 days and will give you a snapshot of how volatile the listing is. You can see this one's been up and down. If you had a break-even price in there at £16, you might have initially been profitable September and October, but very quickly found yourself out of pocket through October and November and December. Okay, moving down, we've got the calculator aspect. So we can put the buy price in, there's no analyze button, there's no calculate button here. It's all done automatically. So if you pay attention down here to the profit margin and ROI sections, these are empty at the moment. It will show you a gross margin. And if I put a buy price of £8 in there, you'll see it takes a second and then it automatically recalculates that ROI, that profit and that margin. Does it all for you, don't need to click calculate. If you're VAT registered, which you can change in your tax settings, that will be reflected as well. So if you change your country to the UK, you will access the VAT settings element and it will reflect in the ROI as well, which is quite handy. Now, general rule of thumb, if you're not sure, hover over it, because if I hover over the profit, for example, it will give me a breakdown of the sale price, the FBA fees, the COGS and the referral fee. If I hover over, for example, the variations, it will tell me a little bit more about that. Hover over private label, gives you a bit of an explanation. So I put tooltips in where possible in order to make things pretty obvious. Okay, bottom one in the quick info tab, competing offers. Again, hover over, self-explanatory, but for the benefit of the video, competing offers measures any seller who is within 5% of the buy box price. It's not a number that we pulled out of our backside. It is Amazon's reflective price of where they will start allowing access to the buy box for a seller. If you're not priced within 5% of the buy box, unless you have extremely, unless you have a high number of reviews, you're not going to be pricing in for that buy box. So competing offers tells you the competition that you're actually going to be working against and battling out for the buy box. You might have 40 total offers on a listing, but if only 3 or 4 of them are competing offers and you can make money at that price, then you could consider that pretty mild competition for that listing. Okay, seller table. Only one seller on this particular listing, so nothing too helpful here really, but it will tell you who is the buy box winner. It will give you access to their seller storefront. If we click that, we can get the seller storefront for Gutter Games, click on visit the storefront, and we can then go and see everything else that they sell on Amazon. If you're familiar with the storefront method, this will be a pretty handy tool for you. Tells you whether they're FBA or FBM. If they are Amazon, it will come up orange there, and it will tell you their price as well, what price they're selling at. We'll close that one down. The bottom one, Keeper Preview. It's just for those that aren't using the Keeper Data Suite, although we do heavily recommend that you get the Keeper Data Suite alongside it. As you can see, there's no comparison between the two graphs there. You've got a preview, but you've got the full suite here. Other tools do replicate this in the extension. I don't see the point, to be honest with you. I think you should get the Keeper Data Suite. It will give you access to the Keeper Product Finder. And if you don't know how crucial that is in the product research and the deal finding element and sourcing element, you should really read up on that. And that alone is worth getting the Keeper Data Suite for. So that's all I'll say on that. And then towards the bottom, we've got 5 buttons there. On the furthest left, you've got the refresh button. All that does is simply refresh the page in terms of the Chrome extension, not the actual page, just in case there's an error or a glitch or something like that. If you switch across to a different variation of a product, you will need to refresh it. So hit that bottom left button and then you'll be looking at the most relevant data for that particular variation. Next along, you've got the Google Shopping link. So if we click that, it will search the title in Google. Pretty straightforward. We did try searching EAN codes with this, didn't work very well because a lot of sellers deliberately muck around with the EANs for product listings on Amazon, so you end up searching an EAN that doesn't actually exist. So this will do a title search which gets you close. If you want to get closer, 2 buttons along where this little Google coloured camera lens is, if you click that, this is going to bring up Google Lens. Again, another underrated product research method and sourcing method. This will scan the image of the product listing through Amazon's image lens, through Google Lens. Through Google's image lens, and it will give you every image match it can find on the internet. And it's quite a good way of finding different suppliers. If you have a look here, we can actually see the supplier of Gutter Games. They have a image match there, and we can see that they're sold out here, but I would imagine their price is probably going to be pretty similar to Amazon. But we've got Toy Street here, we've got forsale.co.uk, on by a few different options. So quite underrated in that respect. Definitely one to keep an eye out for. Down the middle, we've got a button for Keeper simply opens up a Keeper window in a new window and displays the chart. If you've got your full Keeper data subscription activated, you'll get the full chart suite here. If you haven't, you'll get a basic version, but it's pretty much the same as what they dump on your Amazon page anyway. And then to the far right, once you've added a buy price and a sell price and you've seen what your ROI is and everything like that, you can click on the add button in the bottom right and it will add the deal to your dashboard. If I scroll down here, refresh the page, we will see, in actual fact, I've already added it from a past video, so it's already in the dashboard there. And that pretty much wraps it up. Last but not least, we have the see what Arbi thinks button. So once you've filled out the buy price and sell price, we can click that button and it will essentially call out to our fine-tuned GPT model, and it will pass across all of the data points. There's probably about a good 20 or 30 data points that it's going to be analyzing now in order to get an answer as to whether the product listing is acceptable or not. It's a work in progress, but it will give you the opportunity score at the top, and then it will give you qualitative data based on each opportunity. This is something that we're still working on. It is running on GPT 3.5, so it's not GPT-4 just yet. That's in the works, that's on the roadmap. However, it does give you that qualitative advantage if you are a new starter or if you're using a VA, and you might want your VA to read through without having you to check over each of their deals. It will give them a qualitative understanding of why that deal is good or not. And then last, I forgot to mention the plan up the top, the orange and purple pill-shaped icon at the top will tell you how many standard searches and how many Arbi analyses you have left in your plan until you renew. So renewals are done at the beginning of each month. They're not done on a monthly basis. We do it as a batch. So on the first of every month, you will get an injection of your credits, and that's where you'll find that. So that pretty much wraps it up for the actual Arbi extension. In the next video, we will talk about product sourcing methods and things like that.